to talk about soft skills and how to measure them. The good way, the bad way, and the plain ugly way. But let's start with the obvious question. Why we should measure soft skills at all? We have been listening a lot about technology. And indeed, we see seismic changes in the way we work, we live, we love, driven by technology. So why we should care about soft skills, which are the opposite of technical hard skills? Why they should be high on our agenda? And of course, I cannot help but mention the coronavirus here. We can see how technology allows us to manage the breakout in a way that was not possible before. So we can see that only 2 weeks after the virus was identified and reported to the World Health Organization, we already have it isolated and fully sequenced. This allowed also the creation of synthetic copies that could drive the research forward. And only 1 month later, we had the test developed and distributed across labs around the world. Just for a contrast, in the 80s, it took 2 years to develop this kind of test for HIV. So indeed, technology is a big thing, and it makes our life easier, and hopefully it will save us from huge disasters. So why we should care about this kind of non-technical soft side of who we are? Well, if you think about it, yes, we do have a technology that supports our measures against the outbreak, but at the same time, this technology will be worthless if we don't have an open communication, if we don't have a transparency and trust between the actors, if all countries and governments kept the information to themselves and the data, we wouldn't be going anywhere. And this is in the realm of soft skills. And this is why soft skills are so high on our agenda, and this is why they are so important for us as a society and as businesses to be able to solve these kind of wicked problems that are so complex and the data is so quickly changeable that we cannot find a real fix and a real solution. And since soft skills are becoming more and more important, a lot of people start thinking that we shouldn't call them soft at all because it somehow assumes that they are secondary, that not so important as hard skills. And I couldn't agree more, and I believe that we'll see more and more of them getting important for our workplaces. And we can already see that very clear in all the reports like Udemy and LinkedIn projections for the skills that are important for the workplace in 2020. Again, soft skills are on the top. And I would like to recapture what I was saying by a quote by John Nisbet, that the most exciting breakthroughs of the 21st century will not occur because of the technology, but because of the expanding concept of what it means to be a human. And to the true spirit of that, Safebridge have been working for 3 years to understand better this human side of seafaring. So what it means, apart from the technical skills, to be a productive and efficient seafarer on board. And we identified 13 critical soft skills based on our research with numerous officers across departments and across ranks. And you can see 3 clusters: coping under pressure, self-management, and interpersonal skills. And you can also see under each of the clusters the specific skills that we are assessing, like decision-making, perseverance, resilience, flexibility, assertiveness, and negotiations. I truly believe that encouraging soft skills in our industry will help us tackle a lot of the issues that we see now in terms of discrimination, harassment, isolation, and even depression. Because when people have good soft skills. They're able to nurture positive relationships. They're able to have a positive attitude and develop positive coping strategies so they can build the safety net that allows them to survive, thrive, and bounce back in terms of crisis. Not only that, but the development of soft skills triggers, unlocks the virtuous as opposite to the vicious cycle of competence. So once you develop those soft skills, you begin to practice them more. Then you have a superior performance, you have an increased self-efficacy, you are much more confident in your skills, and as a result, you are more likely to practice those skills again, because you are rewarded for that. So, of course, all this affects the bottom line of the company. So it makes sense to manage those soft skills, and in order to be able to manage them, you have to be able to measure them, to rephrase Peter Drucker. So there are three main approaches to managing soft skills, and I'll start with the ugly one. So the ugly approach is when you measure soft skills for the wrong reasons, with the bad intent. And because they are so vague and because they are so subjective, a lot of times soft skills are used to justify either unfair advantage of someone or giving an opportunity or denying opportunity to someone who's a fair right to this opportunity. So this is when soft skills measurement can be actually abused instead of used for something better. Another ugly way to assess soft skills is to do it just to tick a box. So there are a number of guidelines and regulations that recommend using some kind of measurement of soft skills, and this motivates a use of these assessments as really a paperwork. However, I believe there are just few things that are more disillusioning than a company which says that they're going to measure your teamwork, and at the end of the day, they reward selfish, self-centered behavior. Okay, not all kinds of assessments that are bad are driven by bad intent. Sometimes the intent is benign, but you simply don't have the good instruments in order to come up with a valid and reliable assessment. Most of the people, when they are assessing soft skills, they're using interviewing techniques. And interviews are well known to be object to a lot of personal biases. So you know that beautiful people and slim people are usually judged to be more competent. Women are judged to be more socially competent, and men are judged to be more technically competent. Russians are judged to be better decision makers. Filipinos are judged to be more socially sensitive. There are plenty of stereotypes in our industry, you name them. And all this heavily influences the interviewing process. Not only that, but most of the people actually prefer unstructured interviews because they're more easy, you know, the flow is better. But this opens even more opportunity because the interviewer, with his behavior, is making certain people perform much better than others, and sometimes this bias is the interviewer is totally unaware of this kind of bias. So a lot of people consider using online assessment, automated assessments, as a remedy to this problem, yeah? Because no interviewer, no problem. However, you have to take a look, of course, at the validity of these instruments and what are the kind of inputs that they're giving you. So what you can do for with these inputs, with those outputs. And funny enough, a lot of assessments out there are giving you the so-called Barnum statements. So you read the statement and you say, wow, that is me, yeah? So a statement like, you proud yourself in being an independent thinker. Sometimes you feel anxious with strangers and you say to yourself, yeah, this survey, it's amazing. I mean, this is exactly me. However, Barnum effect is a well-known phenomenon in psychology, and very well used over centuries by psychics and palm readers, by using statements that are appealing and it sounds unique, but actually everyone is associating themselves with them. Another way to approach assessing soft skills in a bad way is to measure them, but measure the wrong soft skills, or not the wrong ones, but just the irrelevant. And you can see examples like, measuring extroversion or introversion without actually knowing if being an introvert or an extrovert is good for the position you are evaluating people for. So, of course, there is also a good way to do it. And this is a way in which you do it for the right reasons. You assess the skills that are important and relevant for the specific position. The instrument that you use is valid. It means that it measures what it's supposed to measure, and it's somehow related to the actual performance of the people later that you would like to infer, and it's reliable. That means it yields consistent results over repetitive measurements. And in order to achieve that, I would like to offer you, let's say, a thumb of a nail principle. And it's called a 3-point fix. And I believe you are quite familiar with the term. It comes from the navigation. But please, for those that are aware, bear with me, for the rest that are not. So the whole idea of a 3-point fix is that in order to be able to position yourself in space, it's good to use 3 reference points. So let's say you are sailing with your yacht along the coast, and you want to figure out where you are. So you can use your compass, and you can take a bearing of, let's say, a buoy in the sea. And this will give you a good indication of where you are along a line, but just that, nothing more. So you would need a second reference point, let's say a chimney. So you would need to take the bearing of the chimney, and then you have 2 lines. And then in the intersection of those 2 lines, you can already determine more or less your position. However, of course, each of your measurement is an object of some kind of error, plotting error, measurement error. So it's good to have a 3rd point of reference in order to be able to identify where you are with much more accurate probability of accuracy. So what you can do is, in the same way, assess the competency of people. So instead of using only one approach, which is interviewing, using at least 3 approaches. So you can start with standardized assessments, and then you can move and collect more information by reviewing the autobiography of the person, and then following up with a personal interview in order to fill any of the gaps you're having. If you would like to learn more about assessments and about our portfolio of high-quality assessments, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.